Hello there, you caught me at my tea break again. Well, I'd make you a cup of tea if you was here, but you can bring your own biscuits. Okay, this little waffle, what's it about? It's about home brewing and a few little tips you might find handy. There's nothing looks worse than a homebrew piece of kit that the knobs are all over the place, not straight, not in line, meters on the hook, meaning on the skew. And if you've got normal meters like this, then they could be mounted on a board, no problem. You can cut a hole, and if the hole's slightly oversized, you can position this to straighten it with the top edge and make it look more professional. But there's many different meters. That one you could flush fit, but it has a slightly raised dial, and I personally would hide the mechanism and just show that part. Just dropped it, never mind. Now there's a typical example of a little UV meter, and that part is raised, and I would just show that part. So if we was cutting it in a panel, you'd have to carefully mark it with dividers and pencil and a ruler and so forth, and then drill a few holes, and then possibly with a square file out our holes into a rectangle so that fits behind it. Here's a typical example, a little field strength meter I've made. It's using one of those, and it's sort of quite professional looking, but it's a job to make a neat job, and you have to take your time. Well, if you've only got one or two, a file is fine. But I've made several of these field strength meters for confirming RF on marine gear and so forth over the years. So I made up a little, well, slot sanding machine really. And as you can see, I've disguised it to look like an old sewing machine. No, I haven't, it's a sewing machine. Anyway, it's an old redundant one. Let's put my tea somewhere safe. Over there will do. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit, perhaps. I don't know. Try. Into there a bit. Ta-da, that'll do. Okay, I've removed the foot assembly and all the gubbins in the bottom of the machine. They weren't required. And I've replaced the needle arrangement with a piece of steel, and in the up position, that position just clears the top of this table. And then I've made a piece of table, and here there are two pins, and they're sprung loaded. They push down there and there, and there's two holes corresponding in the table, and this allows me to put the table in and drop it over the pins. Now the unit can go up and down quite happily and not come above the level of the table. And what we do is we pre-make a larger hole first and put that on before we put the table on, otherwise we wouldn't be able to get it out or get it back on. And then on the front surface I use very fine emery, and on the back surface I use a medium grade, and it's much easier. And using the light of the sewing machine you can see your marks, and you should get a good fit. Okay then, well, having shown the, I just dropped my pen, having shown the little field strength meter, someone's bound to say, how do I make one of them? So there's nothing much to this. This is the simplest of all designs, just a couple of diodes and a meter. So there's our meter. Does it show up? Oh, it's not a very good pen, is it? Go and get another one. Well, they soon dry out if you leave the tops off, don't they? Anyway, I got myself another one. Where was I? Two diodes, just two diodes in a box, that's all. And there's our meter. Oh, that's better. Our meter, represents our meter. Okay, and all we have is diode that simple. The diodes want to be germanium. I have used silicon, but they don't give a lot of output, and the meter needs to be very sensitive, 100 micro amps up to about 300 at maximum. And you would need to get pretty close to the RF source for this to work, but it's not frequency sensitive. There's no tuned circuit. There's no choke or L involved apart from that. So it'll cover quite a frequency range. So it can give you some interesting results sometimes. And in order to keep the needle within the meter range, you either extend or shorten the length of the aerial, but that depends on the actual frequencies that you're trying to monitor. It won't actually give you a measurement as such. It will just simply give you an indication that you can use as a reference to another position, which is basically what field strength meters do anyway. Okay, well, having positioned our knobs, dials, sockets and so forth, we now need to mark them up, and unless you have engraving facilities, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but it can be done. But don't use or try to use letraset. I've never seen anyone make a good job of it. You can never get the letters to line up properly. Another no-no is dyno tape. That really looks amateurish. The best thing is to write something out, perhaps on a word processor or a document processor, and then copy it out in good resolution and take it along to a person that does vinyl cutting, and for very little money he'll cut you one within 24 hours more often than not, for a few shillings, £1 at the most, and it'll look far more professional and you'll be much more pleased with the results. Okay, well, I'll move on to various knobs. Old equipment such as this. I mean, this is ancient, but really quality, and of course all this was engraved. They don't do things like that nowadays. Most knobs, can't find one at the moment, most knobs have got, well, there's a sort of cooker knob, but they've sort of got, well, their transfers on there and then lack it over. But the older stuff had engraving, something like this. It says volume on there, but you can't really see much because it's worn over the years. There could be a line somewhere, I don't know. If you want to sort of bring that up, don't attempt to dribble paint into it. That's very small writing, by the way. A very, very simple way of doing that is to get a crayon, preferably a white crayon, a kid's wax crayon. Warm it up so it's a bit soft dough, and then just go all over it, like that, every direction. And take a rag, buff it up, and it'll come back like new. Okay, well, that's enough tips for now. I'm going back to my tea. See you soon. Bye.